Okay.
There we go.
There we go. All right. And if anyone has any questions throughout our little chat, feel free to put your questions in the comments below, and I'd be delighted to ask Jen any questions that you have for her. So just tell us real briefly, Jen, just a little bit about your business, what you do, what you help women with. Just want to start by saying I am absolutely a huge fan of your work, Jen. I think what you're doing is so vitally important.
Thank you, Susie. I am so happy to be here with you. I just love chatting with you and us sharing this information with people. So I'm Jen Franklin, and I'm a cancer recovery coach. And I primarily work with women after cancer to help them rebuild their health through simple nutrition for the most part, and to help them prevent cancer from returning. So that's a big one.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. And you and I connected because it has a lot to do with trauma.
Exactly. Yes.
It has a lot to do with trauma. And I love what you do because you kind of pick up where all the doctors and the medical team, the amazing cancer team that, they've gotten you through the worst. You've got your cancer in remission or completely gone or whatever the case may be. And all that dies down. People celebrate, you beat cancer, hooray, hooray. And there's so much, of course, rightly so, there's so much gratitude, so much celebration. But when all the, the glitter dies down, when the confetti is on the floor and everyone leaves, you're really left with a very diminished capacity. Your body's not what it was. There's so much stress, so much trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Jen comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so interesting that you kind of pulled that out, that everyone celebrates. And of course, that is a good reason to celebrate, because getting through those treatments is not easy. I went through it myself personally through chemotherapy. So I do understand what it takes to get through that. And then you're so happy because obviously you've got past your cancer and you can be in remission. And then the thing is, now what? Because you're left with, like you say, Susie, there's a lot of things going on and your body's been kind of ravaged and beaten down. So it's your whole aspect of yourself. You've kind of lost touch with who you are, and sort of a lot of things are going on. So, there's a lot that happens after that, and you've been through so much that it can be traumatizing for sure. And I think most people probably go through some kind of trauma during having cancer. First of all, getting diagnosed, and then your family as well, the fear of what's going to come up after diagnosis. You don't understand sort of what the root is yet, what you're going to go through. So even just like what kind of treatments you're going to have, when are they going to happen? What are they going to feel like? How are you going to be able to get through them? What's going to happen when you're possibly away from your family, like I had teenage boys, and my husband had to go away from home for treatment. So this can affect the whole family. And of course, extended family.
Absolutely.
Not just the person going through it. So that's a huge thing. And then,
huge. It's terrifying
just everyone
for the family.
Yeah, it is. It's
terrifying.
And it doesn't just disappear once the cancer, treatments or surgery, whatever you're having. Once that's done, you're left with, usually the trauma kind of sets in then a lot of the time, because you're kind of in survival mode. So it's, get through this, get to the other side, and then you stop and, okay, now where am I at? And that's when you kind of realize that, there's a lot going on. Because, when you're going through, a lot of people may not know this, but, there's a lot of different tests and scans, not just the treatments. So you're going along and you're having, CT scans and MRIs, possibly X-rays, bone marrow tests, all sorts of things could be happening. And then the treatments themselves. So, chemotherapy is not a picnic, that's for sure. Neither is radiation or surgery. So some people have all of those. So even just getting through those can be hard and traumatizing for sure, and stressful. So, you
Absolutely.
know, and once people are finished and are trying to move on with their lives, they can also experience different types of trauma. They can have PTSD type symptoms. So, flashbacks or things that possibly trigger these feelings coming up that are make you have a lot of anxiety. So they might end up missing some of their appointments because they don't want to go back to the hospital potentially, or to a doctor's office.
Yes.
They may miss appointments. They might have trouble with going to events that bring back those kinds of memories to them, or
Yeah.
even just being around other people. It can just be extremely stressful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only for the person who's going through it, but for the family members as well.
Yeah. And then there's even the part of, the anxiety that can come up. And, I've been through that myself, where you're now, once you're done, you're away from the doctors who are taking care of you, and the nurses that are checking on you all the time, it seems. Too much at first, you think, oh, overload. But then afterward, you're almost afraid to be away from them, because what if something comes up, and what if I have an issue? And,
Yeah.
it's that can be real anxiety promoting. And then there's also, most people have sort of monthly blood work that gets done after that, like I had, and now it's only every 4 months. But then you're waiting for that. Okay, the blood work gets done now, comes back. What is it going to show? And oh, something's a little off, and that sets you into
Terrifying.
anxiety, or worrying about sort of every little thing that comes up with your body. So like even myself, if I see something or think there's something going on different from the normal everyday, you're so hyper vigilant about what is this? Why is this happening? Because once you've had those treatments, your body can be compromised in some ways, because of the treatments that you've had can affect you. They can cause all sorts of things like neuropathy, so like tingling and pain, for the nerve pain. It can cause all sorts of things: brain fog, fatigue. Some people might have heart issues. You could go on and on. Not what I don't want to be depressing about it, because I feel there's a really good outlook if you take care of yourself afterward. And that's what I've done myself, and I help others with. So
And that's what I really love what you do, because my part of it is trauma, of course. That's what I
Mhm.
specialize in. And anything that's absolutely overwhelming that you cannot process in the moment while you're going through it, that's trauma.
Yeah.
So my end, what I help with, the emotional effects of trauma. If you're having that hypervigilance, which trauma actually changes your brain and
Mhm.
makes you hypervigilant. Um, Paranoia, terror, fear, shaking, panic attacks, flashbacks, fear, that's interrupting with your ability to function. So if you have to go to these follow-up tests and you're so terrified, or your spouse or your partner,
Yeah.
so terrified they cannot step into the doctor's office again,
Yeah.
that's when you come to me. That's when we do trauma solution session, hypnotherapy, absolutely soothes those trauma responses.
That's what I think is so amazing, Susie,
Yeah,
about what you do, because it's sort of like ingrained in you at that point. It's just like
yeah.
you could probably explain it better, sort of how our bodies react. Our minds are doing it, but our bodies are just automatically, it's like muscle memory almost. You go into,
Yeah, it's automatic. It's in your nervous system. It's, that fight, flight, or freeze. It literally takes you over. If anyone out there listening has ever experienced a panic attack, you know exactly what it is. You just completely, you have, Jen.
I've been there.
There's no, you're
You
not in
can't
control of
reason.
your body anymore. It
Yeah.
completely takes you over. So
Yeah.
that's where I come in. And that's really, my specialty. I can soothe and help those trauma responses in the nervous system. Now, where
Mhm.
you come in, Jen, is incredible, because your part of it is all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm great with the emotional and the subconscious and all that, and the nervous system. Your part's the nutrition, the healing, the lab tests. My goodness, you have so much expertise, so much knowledge. I mean, it's just incredible what you do.
Thank you.
Incredible.
And, to the next part of this, so, getting cancer, we've sort of established that can cause a lot of stress and trauma. And we hear, okay, stress can make you sick, stress can cause cancer, those kinds of things. But why is that? I didn't understand it before. And it's so helpful to know what the reasons are behind why stress can cause cancer or other illnesses, because then we can actually understand why we want to take steps and take action to reduce our stress levels. Having an understanding of that is like knowledge is power, right? So,
Absolutely.
and we all need stress to a certain extent in situations really where you need to react quickly, kind of like what you mentioned, the fight or flight
Right.
situation where
Yeah.
you know, somebody cuts you off in traffic and you need to slam on your brakes, your adrenaline, everything goes up, your hormones make changes that cause you to be able to react quickly in a situation like that. Or of course, you can think of many other situations where you might need that, reaction time. But then we don't want to be staying in that stress level continuously,
Right.
because the chronic stress is what is really hard on our bodies for sure.
That's the
So,
killer.
yeah, when your body actually gets stressed, stress level goes up. Of course, you've probably heard of adrenaline gets going in your system, and then what happens is cortisol levels go up, so your hormones and things start changing. Our heart rate goes up, as you've probably noticed as well. Your blood pressure goes up, and then also sugar gets released into your system, so glucose is released. And so just think about the fact that if your body is in chronic stress a lot of the time, and then the sugar keeps getting released into your body and everything else is up, at the highest levels, that's not going to be good for you. Also, your digestion slows down and comes to almost a stop. So, how they say when you're eating and you don't be stressed when you're eating, it's because your body stops digesting. So it's not going to work. It's not going to process your food. You're not going to get what you need from the food.
Right.
Your metabolism slows down. It's just, you can understand why this is not what you want. You want to avoid that if possible.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And what I'm super curious to know from you is, what is it that no one is talking about? No one's talking about this. What is it?
Yeah. Well, some of it is the scientific research that's been done recently is giving us this view into how our metabolism, so the way we process our foods, our metabolism, you've heard of that. Some people have a slow metabolism, some people have a fast one. And that kind of means to a lot of us that some people, when they eat food, they're hungry sooner and they don't gain weight as easily. They have a high metabolism. Having a higher metabolism is better, because what it's doing is that all the processes in your system are moving the food through your system, you're absorbing the food into your cells, the nutrients, and then you're also not keeping, things stored like toxins. It's not slowing everything down. So all of your cell repair that helps you keep healthy cells, which is a key to cancer prevention, all of those things are happening. So, excess insulin in your bloodstream, like the sugar, is basically a recipe for disaster, because you've got the sugar releasing constantly, which can cause cancer, it can cause weight gain, kidney damage, diabetes, heart disease, all those kinds of things. So you can kind of see that having chronic stress and high levels of stress a lot is really has a huge effect on our health. And I think it's just a lot of people don't really understand what it is that causes these issues. From why does it matter if I'm stressed? Like, what's it really going to do? Why is it not a good idea? So I think this kind of helps explain that. And I don't think too many people are talking about that.
Yeah.
Not enough anyways.
Right. And having a regular routine to reduce stress is absolutely crucial. Absolutely
Yes.
crucial. So maybe you can tell us, Jen, some ways that we can work on this, that we can prevent cancer.
Yeah. Well, some of the things for the stress reduction and for reducing, well, the trauma part, as you said, you can talk more to that, but as far as reducing stress levels, one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is to exercise, especially regularly, or if you find that you suddenly have an event where you're extremely stressed and you're able to get out and do a quick walk or get some exercise in, this is going to help process and release that adrenaline and cortisol in your system and calm things down. You've probably noticed that going for a walk, you know, it sort of gets your mind cleared, you kind of calm down and you start sort of absorbing more of what's going on around you instead of being sort of all internal. So that is one of the biggest keys. Another one I would suggest is if you're in a situation where you're stressed and you want to reduce that, is to take some slow, deep breaths and to hold them for a moment, and then hold it for a moment and then slowly let it out. And then do this few times until you can kind of feel your levels calming down. I use it myself. I mean, I get stressed too, so I know more about these key things, and they come more automatically, to me in these times of stress. The more you practice these things, the easier it gets, and the more you are able to incorporate it right away. I don't know about you, Susie, but I find that taking things out of my schedule can help if I've got too many things going on in my life on a daily basis. You just get so overwhelmed and you're just like, go, 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 go. That, taking out the things that are not serving you in your life, that aren't maybe bringing you joy, that you don't have to be doing, or just allowing yourself time to breathe in a day and not just have your schedule jam-packed, can help keep your stress level down for sure. Just not overdoing it. And then a final one that I can think of right now is being out in nature.
Yes.
So,
yes,
nature is just so calming and soothing. Being around the trees, the grass, the water, ocean, river, whatever it is that you can be around, near the mountains. It's amazing, actually, the feeling gives you. I don't know if you've noticed it. I'm sure you have.
absolutely. Yeah.
And did you know that we share 50% DNA with trees? Now that just blows me away, because
That's amazing.
we almost don't see, they're a living thing, but they're not like a human being, right? And they share 50% DNA with us. So that's how connected we are with the nature and the living world around us.
Yes, we're absolutely connected. We're energetic beings, and the trees are energy, nature is energy. And when we enter into and really submerge ourselves in nature, it actually lowers our cortisol levels, lowers the stress levels. It only takes about 20 minutes to get significant results from being in nature. The Japanese have an expression, they say it in Japanese, of course, but they call it forest bathing.
Yes, forest bathing. Yeah.
I love it. I'm a big nature lover. All those things, nature, exercise, deep breathing, all so great to release stress.
Mm-hmm.
And also cutting out all that extra stuff. Like you said, when I was going through an excruciatingly traumatic time in my life, I was given the advice by a nurse, actually, just get one thing done a day. So when you're in the thick of it and you're overwhelmed with everything, if you can just get one thing done a day, you're doing great. You're doing great.
One step at a time. Yep. One thing a day. That's a good thought there.
All great, all great tips. And I would actually add, get support.
Yes.
Whether it's, a family member, or whether it's a professional, or, a therapist, or, whether it's a coach, or whatever it is, get support. The strongest people get support.
Absolutely. I'm always saying that reaching out for help it's not a sign of weakness. It's really a sign of strength, because you are willing to put yourself out there and share that with other people and let them know you're struggling. And if you're stressed all the time, or you're having trauma, then reach out. I mean, I've done that in the past. I've had quite a few years ago, I had a bout of anxiety at the dentist, actually, where I was supposed to have a root canal on 2 teeth, and it was kind of like a claustrophobia situation, I think, with the rubber dam they use. And It
Oh,
just put me into a panic, and I
yeah.
really had never experienced that before, where it lasted, a few weeks, where I thought, oh my goodness, am I going to come out of
Mm.
this? And I really got a window into what people go through when they have these things happen in a more severe way. And so I reached out for help in several directions. I contacted my doctor, my naturopath. I really thought, you know what, I don't want to live like this, and I'm going to look for help. And I just get on it right away. That's me, though.
No, good for you. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
And
And
then you find what does help, and you find that there's lots available for you. You just need to reach out for it.
yeah, in fact, we could do a whole nother trauma talks on that. Because just that alone, it can be overwhelming. There are so many options, so many places, so many things, so many people trying to help.
Mhm.
How do you choose? But like I said, that's a great topic for another trauma talks, actually.
For
How
sure.
to find the best fit for you.
Yes.
Um,
Good one.
so I'm going to put down in the comments for people who want to get a hold of you, Jen, and um, even for family members, partners, friends who know someone that would benefit from Jen's work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to get the word out. We're going to spread the word of what you're doing, Jen, because I think it's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions for Jen, now's your chance. You can put it in the comments below. Yeah, and we really appreciate everybody here, everyone. I
Yes, thank you.
absolutely love and appreciate everyone in the tribe. You are all amazing people. You've been through all kinds of trauma, and you have stood up for yourself and you said, yes, I've been through trauma and I'm working on it. I'm healing it. And that's incredible. That's absolutely brave. Absolutely brave. So I really admire and respect everyone in the tribe. And I really admire and respect you too, Jen. Like I said, I am such a big fan of your work.
Thank you, Susie. I'm a total fan of your work too. It's great that we can do this together and collaborate, because it's
Yeah.
really important, and it's just other resources people can reach out for. And what you do is incredible, just being able to reset everything in your system. And yeah,
Oh, that's a nice
great
way to
to do
put it.
that.
Yeah, it's a reset.
Mhm.
Yeah, reset, reprogram, reboot,
Yeah. Reboot.
come out. Oh,
Just
okay.
like we had to do today with the Zoom.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, Zoom, for cooperating. And thank you, Jen, for being here.
It
Thank you
was my
so much.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone that's watching and tuning in. And stay tuned in the tribe every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Trauma Talks. Next week, we're going to have an incredible guest, Jody. Jody is going to talk to us about blissipline. So that's going to be really fun. I'm super excited to learn what is blissipline and how do we incorporate it into our lives. So that's going to be fun next week, Wednesday at 11 Pacific time. We always do Trauma Talks Wednesday at 11 Pacific. And you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Thanks again, Jen.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.